call it protection. You call it playing it safe or keeping your guard up. But let us look at the mechanism for what it actually is. Every time you avoid a person, a conversation, or a risk, because you fear the sting of rejection or criticism, you are not protecting yourself. You are being steered. If criticism can make you hide, then the critic is your master. If betrayal can break your ability to trust, then the betrayer has stolen your future. Avoiding pain does not remove the pain. It simply maps out exactly where you are weak. You have built a cage out of your triggers and called it a fortress. Are you actually safe, or are you just effectively imprisoned? Real freedom is not the absence of the storm, but the internal stability that allows you to stand while the wind howls. You must decide if you will remain a prisoner of your own defense or walk out into the open. Look at the man you are trying to be. He is respected. He is reliable. He is untouchable. From the outside, he is a statue of discipline. But inside, he is running a 24/7 war room, desperately calculating every move to ensure no one sees the crack in the foundation. This is the exhaustion of the model man. His armor is not strength. It is fear with a high-performance engine. He thinks he wants to be numb so he cannot feel the hit. But what he actually needs is to be integrated so the hit no longer matters. We are not here to teach you how to be cold. We are here to teach you how to be whole. This requires a radical honesty that most men find terrifying. It means admitting that the fortress you built to survive your youth has become the very thing preventing you from living as an adult. It is time to dismantle the walls and finally breathe. The event itself is rarely what breaks you. It is the aftershock. It is the 3 hours of internal dialogue after a coworker makes a sharp comment. It is the week spent replaying what I should have said to the person who walked away. It is the desperate craving for closure that hands your keys back to the person who locked the door. One sentence ruins a full day. One silence becomes an entire narrative of abandonment. You are not reacting to the world. You are reacting to the echoes of your own unhealed history. This internal friction consumes more energy than the actual conflict ever did. You carry the weight of words long after the speaker has forgotten them. This cycle is the true source of your exhaustion. Until you recognize that the wound is internal, you will continue to see the world as a battlefield when it is actually a mirror of your unresolved pain. When you live this way, the cost is your dignity. You become a manager of perceptions rather than a liver of truth. You over-explain your boundaries because you are terrified of being the bad guy. You seek constant reassurance because you do not trust your own internal compass. If your strength requires constant maintenance and a specific set of external conditions to remain intact, then it is not strength. It is a mask. And the heavier the mask becomes, the less of you there is left behind it. You trade your authenticity for a false sense of security that never truly arrives. This performance is a slow poison to the soul. True power does not come from controlling how others see you, but from being so grounded in your own reality that their gaze no longer dictates your value. You must stop performing and start existing. Only then will the heavy burden lift. The enemy has a specific name: the illusion of control. You believe that if you can just be perfect enough, perform well enough, or anticipate every variable, you can buy immunity from suffering. You cannot. Events do not own power. They borrow it from the open wounds already inside you. As Carl Jung noted, that which we do not bring to consciousness appears in our lives as fate. If you are triggered, it is because something inside you is currently unintegrated. The external world did not create the fire. It just provided the spark that ignited your hidden fuel. You spend your life trying to extinguish every spark when you should be focused on removing the fuel. Until you accept that you cannot control the wind, you will remain exhausted by your efforts to stop it from blowing. True mastery begins when you stop bargaining with reality and start looking inward. This is not a video about mindset or motivation. This is a diagnosis followed by a method. To become truly unshakable, we must operate on 4 distinct axes: trigger mapping to find the leak, controlled detox to stop the bargaining, unconscious exposure to see the driver, and integration to become whole. This is the precise system for moving from a fragile shell to an unbreakable core. We will strip away the layers of performance that have kept you small. We will identify the exact moments where your power is being drained by ghosts of the past. This process requires your absolute focus and a willingness to see yourself without the mask. If you are ready to stop managing your symptoms and start curing the cause, then we are ready to begin the work. This is the roadmap to a life where you are no longer a victim of your own reactions. The path is clear, and the time is now. Stop asking why people are like this, and start asking where this lands in me. When someone disrespects you, the heat you feel in your chest is not about them. It is a map. Does it feel like shame, abandonment, humiliation? When you name the category, the trigger loses its mystery. You move from the state of "I am angry" to the observation of "I am experiencing a shame" response triggered by a perceived lack of status. The moment you name the mechanism, you are no longer the mechanism. You are the observer. This shift is the foundation of emotional sovereignty. You are taking the data of your life and translating it into a language you can speak. This is how you stop being a victim of your own biological impulses. You must learn to look at your internal landscape with the cold eye of a scientist. Mapping the terrain is the only way to navigate it without getting lost in the heat of the moment. Two men receive the same criticism. One collapses into a week of self-doubt and resentment. The other listens, takes what is useful, discards the rest, and eats his lunch in peace. The difference is not toughness. The difference is that the second man has mapped his wounds. He knows where he is bleeding, and he has closed the wound. Before you respond to any spike in emotion, take a 10-second pause. Name the emotion precisely. Identify the meaning you assign to it. Only then can you act with authority. Most men react to the world like a piano that plays a note whenever a key is pressed. You must become the pianist instead of the instrument. This requires a level of discipline that few are willing to cultivate. If you can master the space between the stimulus and your response, you have found the secret to true power. This is the first step toward becoming a man who is governed by purpose rather than by his nerves. You have been signing a secret contract with reality. You tell yourself that if you are good, you will not be hurt. You believe that if you are successful, you will not be criticized. This is slavery disguised as maturity. You are trying to control variables that do not belong to you. Stoicism teaches us that the only things we truly own are our judgments and our actions. Everything else, such as other people's opinions, their loyalty, and their choices, is external. The moment you stop bargaining for safety, you become dangerous to those who would manipulate you. When you no longer need the approval of the crowd, you are finally free to act according to your own values. This detox requires you to burn the contracts you made with a world that owes you nothing. You must accept that your safety does not come from the environment, but from your capacity to endure it. Instead of managing reactions, you must learn to manage your standards. If you are over-explaining your boundaries, you are begging for permission to have them. Stop. A boundary is not a negotiation, it is a statement of fact. Replace the question of why they did this with the question of whether this behavior aligns with your standards for your environment. If the answer is no, you do not need closure. You need a departure. Move from a state of control to a state of preparedness. Preparedness does not require the world to be kind. It only requires you to be ready. This shift in focus moves you from a defensive posture to one of quiet authority. You are no longer looking for a way to change the behavior of others. You are simply deciding who is allowed to remain in your presence. This is the ultimate form of self-respect. You are the gatekeeper of your own peace. You call it bad luck or difficult people, but for most, it is simply unconscious programming. You are a passenger in a vehicle driven by patterns you have not looked at since childhood. Jung warned that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it destiny. You will keep choosing the same unavailable partners. You will keep self-sabotaging right before a breakthrough. You are not cursed, you are just on autopilot. This internal script was written when you were too young to understand the world, yet it continues to dictate your adult reality. You are fighting ghost battles with weapons that no longer serve you. To break the cycle, you must first admit that you are not the one holding the wheel. Realizing that your reactions are automated is the first step toward reclaiming your agency. You cannot change what you refuse to acknowledge as your own. Look at the pain that repeats in your life. That is your unconscious driver showing its face. Do you always feel replaced? Do you always feel unseen? This is your homework, a trigger journal. Every time you feel a spike, write down the meaning you assign to it. Ask yourself the one honest question you have been avoiding. What am I protecting by reacting this way? Awareness is the only thing that can cut the puppet strings. When you see the driver, it loses its power to stay hidden. You are no longer reacting to the present moment. You are healing a memory from the past. This audit is not meant to be comfortable. It is meant to be transformative. You are peeling back the layers of your identity to find the truth underneath the trauma. Once the driver is exposed to the light of your conscious mind, it can no longer steer you into the abyss. You are finally free to choose. The false goal of self-improvement is to become untouchable. It is the desire to be cold, hard, and robotic. That is just another mask. True integration means that nothing outside can hit what is already owned inside. If you have faced your own capacity for darkness, someone calling you a monster does not hurt. It is just an observation. Individuation is the process of meeting your light and your shadow and realizing you are both. You do not need armor when you are no longer hiding from yourself. Integration is not about being perfect. It is about being complete. When you stop rejecting parts of your history, you stop being vulnerable to those who would use those parts against you. You become a solid object in a world of ghosts. The strength you seek is found in the courage to remain open even when you have every reason to close. This is the birth of the unshakable man. Most men are living as a persona. They are the reliable worker, the nice guy, or the strong friend. This persona is a survival mask, and it is suffocating you. It forces you to suppress your truth to maintain an image. To integrate, you must practice controlled honesty. Own one truth this week without dramatizing it. Admit a fear without looking for sympathy. When you stop performing, you start being. And when you are presence itself. This presence is what people actually respect. They do not respect the mask. They respect the man who is comfortable enough in his own skin to exist without one. You are no longer a manager of impressions. You are a source of reality. This is the end of the chase and the beginning of your actual life. You have dismantled the cage and stepped into the light. Now, you must walk forward as a whole human being. The journey is complete. You are finally home. Being unshakable is not a mood you fall into. It is a trained process. The loop is simple. A trigger occurs. You identify the wound. You notice the impulse to control or bargain. You recognize the unconscious pattern. You choose integration. You act from a state of calm. This sequence happens in the space of a few breaths. It is the fundamental difference between a man who reacts and a man who responds. This is the daily discipline of the integrated man. It requires a hyper-awareness of your internal state at all times. You are no longer drifting through your day. You are actively filtering every experience through the lens of your own development. This level of focus turns every interaction into a training ground for your soul. You are building a mental muscle that will eventually become your default setting. Through repetition, you move from effort to effortless presence. Do not get addicted to self-help. Get addicted to implementation. Choose one axis for the next 7 days. Spend week 1 only mapping your triggers. Spend week 2 enforcing boundaries without any explanation. Spend week 3 auditing your repeating patterns. Spend week 4 practicing persona shedding. Mastery is not about knowing everything. It is about doing one thing until the old version of you can no longer survive in the new environment. This systematic approach prevents the overwhelm that leads to stagnation. You do not need more information. You need more evidence of your own transformation. Progress is measured by the silence that follows a provocation. It is measured by the peace you feel when you no longer have to perform for a crowd. Commitment to this cycle is the only way to ensure that these lessons become your new reality. The work is simple, but the work is everything. How do you know it is working? You will notice the markers of the new man. You offer fewer explanations. Your decisions become slower and more deliberate. You stop begging for fairness because you understand that the world owes you nothing but an opportunity to respond. When criticism comes, you listen to it like a scientist examining a specimen, calmly and objectively, and then you move on. There is no inner collapse. There is no internal war room. There is just movement. This quiet power is felt by everyone you encounter. It is a presence that does not need to shout to be heard. You are no longer leaking energy into the opinions of others. You are no longer a hostage to the moods of the room. You have become a man who is directed from within. This is the ultimate competitive advantage in a world of reactive people. You are the eye of the storm. Now, look in the mirror. Ask yourself, what do you need from people to feel safe? Which wound are you protecting more than your future? Which mask are you addicted to? The truth might feel cold, but coldness is where the swelling goes down. Inner stillness only comes after the fires of self-deception have burned out. You must be willing to let the old, fragile versions of yourself die so that the integrated man can finally stand. This is the end of the script, but it is the beginning of your sovereignty. The path forward is not found in more videos or more theories. It is found in the quiet choices you make when no one is watching. You have the tools, you have the map, you have the system. The only question that remains is whether you have the courage to exist as you truly are. Go forth and be whole. The world is waiting for the man you have become. This is the moment of separation. You are either building a core or you are dying behind a mask. If you are ready to stop performing, then join the KAION community. We are building a disciplined, conscious, and powerful collective of men who value truth over comfort. Subscribe now and signal your intent to leave the masses of the unawakened behind. Choosing not to join is a choice to remain in stagnation and weakness. In the comments below, name one specific trigger you will study this week. This is not for the algorithm, it is a public vow. Is it rejection or the fear of being seen? By joining us, you claim your seat among those who lead from integration. Share this with one man who is silently bleeding. He needs this map. If you stay on the outside, you choose to remain a victim of your own reactions. Join the ranks or be left behind in the noise. The choice is yours. Nothing in this world can protect you from life. People will leave, plans will fail, bodies will break. But consciousness changes your relationship with all of it. You do not become untouchable. You become unavailable to manipulation because there is no longer a part of you that you are trying to hide. You are whole, you are integrated, you are finally, truly unshakable. The storm will still come, but it will find nothing in you to grab onto. You are the mountain, you are the deep water. The journey of the 1,000 miles begins with the single step of radical honesty. You have been given the system. You have been shown the enemy. Now, the responsibility rests entirely on your shoulders. Walk forward with your head high and your heart open. This is the end of the lesson and the beginning of your absolute freedom. There is nothing left to say. There is only the work. Go and do what must be done.